The Nazca Desert is one of the most stable environments on Earth. There is almost no rain, barely any wind, and very little erosion. Because of that, anything created there can last for thousands of years. Lines scratched just a few centimeters into the ground can survive for eternity. For centuries, people walked across this barren land without realizing they were stepping over one of humanity's greatest visual archives. In the early 20th century, the desert between Nazca and Palpa in southern Peru appeared empty and lifeless from the ground. The soil was rust-colored, the sky cloudless, and the plains stretched endlessly. The markings etched into the surface were shallow and faint, easily mistaken for natural scratches. Everything changed once airplanes began flying over the region. From the air, passengers saw long, perfectly straight lines cutting across the desert in ways that made no sense. They were too precise, too intentional to be random. In 1927, Peruvian archaeologist Toribio Mejia Zesp noticed these markings while hiking in the foothills. Seeing them from higher ground, he realized they were deliberate designs, not roads or accidents. He spent years quietly studying and mapping them before presenting his findings in Lima in 1939. He called them the Nazca lines, but at the time, few outside Peru paid attention. That changed in 1941 when American historian Paul Kosok flew over the plains. As the sun set during the winter solstice, he noticed one of the long lines pointing exactly toward the horizon where the sun disappeared. The alignment was too precise to be coincidence. Circling back, he saw something even more astonishing. A massive bird figure etched into the ground, created by removing the dark surface stones to reveal lighter soil beneath. It spanned hundreds of feet and could only be understood from above. Kosok realized the desert was not random terrain, but a message written on a monumental scale. He famously described it as the largest astronomy book in the world. Kosok soon teamed up with Maria Reich, a German mathematician living in Peru. She became completely devoted to the lines, spending more than 40 years measuring, mapping, and protecting them. She lived in tents, swept sand off the figures with a broom, and used a ladder strapped to her car to gain better views. She believed the lines formed a giant calendar connected to celestial events and seasonal cycles. Using nothing but measuring tapes, compasses, and patience, she documented hundreds of figures and lines, some stretching for kilometers. Wooden stakes found buried at intervals along the lines revealed how they were made. Carbon dating placed them between 500 BC and 500 AD, firmly within the Nazca culture. The builders used simple geometry, ropes, and stakes to create enormous designs with remarkable accuracy. Experiments later proved that small teams could recreate the figures using only ancient tools. There was no mystery technology involved, just human ingenuity guided by purpose. The Nazca environment preserved everything. With almost no rain or wind, the desert surface hardened into a protective crust. Even shallow grooves remained sharp for centuries. This unique stability allowed the lines to survive almost unchanged, frozen in time. As more figures were cataloged, researchers found animals like hummingbirds, spiders, monkeys, condors, and plants, alongside countless geometric shapes. Some lines ran straight for miles. Others formed trapezoids, spirals, and triangles. One humanoid figure with a large head became known as the astronaut. The sheer scale raised a haunting question. Why would a civilization without flight create art meant to be seen from the sky? Many archaeologists believed the lines were not meant for human eyes at all. The Nazca depended heavily on water in an arid land, so their rituals focused on rain, fertility, and survival. Some scholars suggested the lines were sacred pathways used in ceremonies, guiding worshippers toward powerful places or serving as offerings to the gods. Certain animals, like spiders and hummingbirds, were associated with water, fertility, and the spiritual world. Other theories emerged. Some noticed similarities between the lines and patterns found in ancient textiles, suggesting a symbolic connection to weaving. Others believed the lines mapped underground water sources or mirrored irrigation systems like the Nazca Puquios, underground aqueducts that still function today. Over time, researchers accepted that no single explanation fit everything. The lines likely served multiple purposes: ritual, symbolic, practical, and astronomical. In the late 1960s, public fascination took a dramatic turn. A popular book claimed the lines were alien runways built for extraterrestrial visitors. The idea captured imaginations worldwide despite lacking evidence. Scientists strongly rejected it, demonstrating again and again that humans could make the lines with simple tools. Yet the alien theory persisted in popular culture, fueled by documentaries and speculation. Despite myths and misunderstandings, the attention helped drive preservation efforts. In 1994, the Nazca lines were designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Even then they remained fragile. Roads, weather events, reckless tourism, and accidents caused damage. These threats pushed researchers to adopt new technologies. Aerial photography, satellites, drones, and digital mapping transformed the field. Archaeologists discovered ceremonial centers like Kawachi and traced pilgrimage routes connecting settlements to the lines. Patterns began to emerge linking geoglyphs to ancient footpaths, pottery styles, and water systems. The most dramatic shift came in the early 2020s, when artificial intelligence entered the picture. Researchers at Yamagata University partnered with IBM to analyze high-resolution images using machine learning. The AI was trained to recognize subtle anomalies in the landscape, detecting shapes too faint or small for humans to notice easily. In just 6 months, the system identified 303 new geoglyphs, nearly doubling the known total. Many were small relief figures carved into hillsides rather than flat plains, measuring only a few meters across. That explained why they had gone unnoticed for decades. What the AI revealed was unsettling and transformative. Among animals and symbols were human figures holding severed heads, clearly depicting ritual trophy heads known from Nazca pottery. There was also a killer whale carved deep in the desert, far from the sea, suggesting myth, trade, or symbolic memory. These images were not designed for gods in the sky. They were placed along ancient walking paths, meant to be seen by travelers at eye level. This discovery changed everything. The Nazca lines were no longer just monumental sky art. They were a visual language embedded in daily life. Large ceremonial figures belonged to communal rituals and cosmic symbolism. Smaller ones told stories, marked paths, warned, taught, and remembered. Without a written language, the Nazca recorded their world in the ground beneath their feet. Even now, hundreds of AI-flagged locations remain unverified. If confirmed, the total number of geoglyphs could exceed 1,000. The desert, once thought silent, is revealing itself as a vast archive of human memory. Thanks to modern technology, voices etched into sand 2,000 years ago are finally being heard again.